Hi, I'm Sumitra, and I wrote a paper on the productivity of demonyms in American English. So a demonym is an adjective that we call someone based on where they're from. So American, Chinese, Somali, Danish, those are all demonyms. And I don't know if you noticed, but all of the ones that I just listed had different endings. And when I realized this, I wanted to know why, because all these endings serve the same function to turn a place name into an adjective, yet we have so many of them in English. So I wanted to figure out why that was and which one was most productive. So that brings me to productivity. In linguistics, productivity is a measure of how likely a grammatical process is to occur, usually in word formation. So in my case, I wanted to figure out how likely a suffix was to be used to create a new demonym. So the factors that I looked at were the toponym's language of origin. A toponym is the place name, like America. And by this, I mean, for example, would a Latin suffix be more likely to be attached to a place name of Latin origin? And I also want to look at the history of the place and see if the people that lived there or occupied the area had an influence on the demonym that we use today. So the suffixes that I looked at were ish, like Danish, ease, like in Chinese, and like in American, and e, like in Somali. And I organized all of the demonyms in English by suffix and found that there were 129 ending in an, 10 ending in ish, 17 ending in ease, and 15 ending in e. So based on this alone, it looks like an is the most productive because it's being used the most to create the most demonyms. Another thing that I observed from the list that I made was that ease is typically applied to places in Africa and Asia. And if we look at the history of those places, it makes sense because they were occupied by the French, and that suffix came to English through French. And E, like in Somali, is applied to toponyms of Semitic origin for the most part. There's exceptions, of course, but this also makes sense because E is a Semitic suffix. And ish is Proto-Germanic, and it kind of came about at the beginning of the development of the English language. And people that were speaking that version of English back then were only really exposed to themselves and the places around them, which is why ish is mostly applied to places in close proximity to England. So the second part of my study was seeing how likely these suffixes were to be used to create new demonyms. So to test this, I created a survey where I made fake place names of Latin, Germanic, East Asian, and Semitic origin using Google Translate to kind of mix and match. I asked participants to match each fake place name with the demonym that they thought fit best. And participants included native English speakers ages 15 through 50. And yeah, I sent it out, and it turned out that AN was most chosen for all of the demonyms, all of the place names, regardless of their language of origin. So that kind of proves that AN is the most productive demonym suffix, meaning that if we were to create new demonyms in the future, AN would likely be what they end in. And yeah, that's all. And I also want to thank my mentor, Jade, for helping me with my project.
Thank you. That was really interesting. How did you get interested in this subject? Like what attracted you to it?
Well, I've always been interested in linguistics and like etymology specifically, and the intersection between that and um, more social, cultural subjects. So like I said, I kind of thought of it because I was thinking about how all of these demonyms have different suffixes. It just struck me as weird one day. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, did you have anything that you found particularly challenging working on your project? Something that you maybe didn't expect?
Yes. So I actually was not originally going to make this about demonyms. No, I was going to make it about demonyms, but the issue was I was trying to look at linguistic corpora, which is like databases of words, um, and try to figure it out that way. But the corpora could not distinguish between like random word endings and actual suffixes. Like the word can ends in an. So if I looked up words ending in an, I would get words like can, and but I would also get words like American, but I only wanted the ones where an was used as a suffix. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Good.
but I use the CIA World Fact Book of demonyms as a corpus, and that was better.
Mm. Are you planning on studying this in college?
So this kind of showed me that didn't want to pursue linguistics as a career as much as I'm interested in it, but I really liked surveying people and learning about the history of places. So I'm thinking more international relations, political science now.
Interesting. And does it, does it excite you to learn new languages? Like, is that part of all of this? And if so, like, what languages do you speak?
Yeah, I do like learning languages. I speak Tamil. That's my mother tongue.
Yeah.
And I also take French in school, and I really like that as well. And
Mm,
maybe I'll learn more in the future.
okay. Well, thank you for presenting. I learned something from you as well. I also think linguistics is just interesting. It's very interesting. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.